that Stampin' Up! Has announced yesterday, we have new products to offer for free during celebration. Trying to grab my flyer here. So let's see. These are catalog items. There's several embossing folders. There's several dies, the silver foil paper, and the brushed metallic foil paper. So yeah, some great, and some boxes. So some great other items that you may not have already purchased or have on hand, and might be something that you can, if you've gotten all of the other free items, or there's a couple items that have gone out already. The tree lot dies have sold out, and those the pretty cards and envelopes, they sold out like right away, unfortunately. So all right, so another thing, and I'll show you those when I change over to the other screen so that you can see them a little bit better. Hopefully, we have a new kit, folks. I am so excited. This is a huge blow up. It's called Cozy and Bright. It is a Christmas card kit. 12 cards. They're all, the supplies I think are the same for 12 cards. Of course, you can make them how you want to. The envelopes are printed. They have some sliced oranges and cinnamon sticks and fun things like that. So really pretty. So very excited about that. And then for demonstrators only, right now, we can order some new dies. Stampin' Up! Has come out with, I believe, 6 new dies to coordinate with sets that are in the catalog or in the holiday catalog. This just was announced, I think, Monday, because we could pre-order it then. So for our customers, they will be able to order these beginning September 1st. And the dies will be put with the stamp sets as a bundle for the discount. So there's a couple in here that really speak to me. I like the Playful Piggy stamp set, but I was like, it's okay. Well, now that it has dies with it, and it has the cutest little wagon that goes with it, it is really adorable. And the tree trimming stamp set that's in the annual catalog, it was just, to me, it was like, okay, whatever, you know. But now it's like we have these really cute dies, little cutouts of trees and things like that. So it's funny how dies just really change what you can do with a stamp set. And then of course the Apple Blossom die from the Apple Blossom stamp set in the holiday catalog. That's a very pretty set, very pretty. And then you add these dies to it. So there's a couple other ones. Those are highlights of the ones I think are great. Okay, welcome, Ellen, Sylvia. I'm trying to think who else I missed. So good to see you. All right, let's see, did I cover everything? Let me check my notes. I think that's it. Let me switch over to the other camera, and then I will just let you see these up close in case you didn't get a chance to look at those before. Okay, so this is the Cozy and Bright kit. This is just a printout. It's much more beautiful online. The color of the paper looks like evening evergreen, so really rich and gorgeous. This is the list of the extra celebration items. So some of them are $50 items, like with a $50 purchase, and then some of the dies are with a $100 purchase. In fact, all the dies are 100. Okay, and then you're getting a sneak peek of what I'm going to show you today. All right, and then the Perfect Partners is here. So here's the Apple Blossom, Apple Harvest, the Fresh Cut Flowers, the Playful Piggy, the Trimming the Tree. Here's the Waterfall Canyon. I can't tell you, excuse me, I hated the stamp set. And I'm sorry, but the dies didn't do anything more for me there. But if you like that kind of thing, you know, go for it. And then the Yeti. Some of you were very excited about the Yeti, so I'm sure you'll be excited to see the dies that go with it. So, all right, let me get rid of that. All right, let's stamp, folks. So I pulled out this stamp set because I think it's so beautiful. I'm using it for class this month, and fall is just, I love the colors of fall. So I decided to play with that. And I saw a card layout with leaves, and I didn't have the leaf set, but I have this pumpkin set. So I am casing a card design, but changing it with the stamps and making it my own. So we'll start from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and show you this embossing folder that you may have missed. It's in the holiday catalog, and I didn't prep to show you that, but let me just see if I can find it here, because in case you haven't seen it either, I did not see it right away. It's on page 53. Do you see it anywhere? Only if you notice this little spot right here where it says Leaf 3D embossing folder, and they have it half covered up. So I'm going to show you how cool it looks in person. So let me pull our Big Daddy die cutting machine over here. And this is a 6x6, and it is a 3D. And hopefully you can see the design there, probably easier than you'll be able to see it on the paper. Just really pretty, and it's just falling leaves. So we are going to need our platform 1 and this. This is the platform 4 that goes with 3D embossing folders. And I cut down my gray granite paper to, let me think, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm just going to stick that right here on the side, and then we're going to run that through. Actually, I want a little more space down here to stamp my saying, so I'm going to scoot that down just a tad. You know, when you're designing a card on the fly, sometimes you do things that you can't fix, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So hopefully moving that will make this look a little nicer. Okay. All right. I can't tell if we can see that or not. Let me scoot. There we go. Okay. So isn't that pretty? Just really nice. So you will, if you missed this like I did, you will definitely want to add this to your list. So I'm going to go back to the card here and show you why I moved that. I decided to put my "You Are Such a Blessing" down here, and that little leaf right there was in my way. And I did try to smash it down at the last second with my bone folder, but I didn't do it enough. And so you can see that my B did not completely stamp. So we're going to fix that with this one. The other thing, I decorated my envelope with the pretty leaf that's here. And I just did this little flower in pumpkin pie, and I'm not going to do that today. So I stamped it once and then stamped it again to get that stamped off look. And I just grabbed a piece of a stitched rectangle piece of white paper that I had there when I did this card. And then I was like, well, I want to show you guys another idea. And I know I showed some more of these pumpkin cards earlier, and do you think I could find them anywhere? I don't know. I know I did one with the die cuts in here, with these pretty die cuts, and I made just a pumpkin with that, and I couldn't find them. So I will post them here when I find them. But what I wanted to say is I wanted to show some other projects with this. So maybe I'll do that before I do this card for you, because I want to show you the difference. I did this pumpkin on this little box. I had did these boxes before for a stamping event that we had. And I decided to grab some watercolor paper to do this pumpkin. Do you see the difference? I colored them with exactly the same colors. Exactly. Not one difference, okay? That's the difference that watercolor paper makes. So I just hope that you can see that. In fact, I decided that to show you this card, I'm going to go ahead and demo this with watercolor paper so that I will be able to show the two cards to you. Okay. And then one other card. This is a card we're doing for class this month, and we added the little gnome to the top there. And but yeah, I thought I would just show you that. That's got the cute little flowers on it as well. Okay. So let me grab my supplies. I'm doing gray granite on gray granite, which I don't typically do, but if I'm going to emboss on the front of a card, I usually always put a layer on, because if I did this on the front of this card, it would buckle it. It breaks fibers when it embosses, and so that gives your card not as much stability. Okay. All right, let me grab my color. Oh, we're going to just stamp with StazOn because I'm watercoloring. I know I'm late to the game. I know last month was watercolor month, and I'm slow to the draw, but whatever, you know, when it comes, it comes. So when I went to stamp for this piece, I decided to put it on my Stamparatus because I knew that watercolor paper does not stamp nicely because it's bumpy, okay? It's not going to grab all of the ink off on the first shot through. So I set it up on here, and you can see I did it right there. So I decided, then I cut this rectangle out to do my card. Where's my card? To do this piece. And I decided I'm putting it back on here to stamp that as well. So I have it set up. I just laid my stamp where I wanted it there. And now I want you to see how this looks with the first stamp. And that's it. If I had done that, I would not have been happy. You wouldn't have been happy either. Let me just bring it close. It is not a complete image, okay? So definitely you would not be happy with that. So this is where the Stamparatus is absolutely crucial. Use my little tool there that Karen gave me. Love it. And that's 2, and I see some fuzz there, and I'm hoping, I can't tell if yeah, it's stamped. It's actually sticking on there. Let me get my take your pick tool. Trying not to smear black everywhere because the fuzz has black ink on it. Okay, I think I got most of it. All right. That's 3. I'm hoping 4 is the charm. The other thing is just giving it time to travel off of the stamp onto the paper is helpful. So the longer you leave it there, the more coverage you're going to get. Hopefully that didn't move. Okay. So I think I'm good with that. And I usually clean this right away. Oftentimes I will just take a piece of cardboard, which I didn't bring in here with me, and just rub on there to get the worst of that off before I do clean it with our StazOn cleaner. But I'm not going to do that right now. But I am going to, let's see, I think that's all I need for the Stamparatus. Go ahead and pop this off of here. And I'll scoot this aside. Sylvia, thanks for asking. Joel is still struggling. We are still struggling to find a combination of drugs that works for him and doesn't make him miserable. It has caused him terrible headaches and dizziness. And so, but the doctor has been really good to call me back. He missed work again yesterday. He is back to work today, but I don't think he was feeling the greatest. So yeah, just thank you for your prayers. I appreciate you remembering us. Yeah, he's out of holiday time, so now, you know, we're just living on what we can make and praying that you know how that is, praying that the money extends long enough. But yeah, so it's a really trying time for him. I think he's experiencing a lot of depression over it. A lot of it's from, you know, when you don't feel good. And some of it's just medicine causing it. Okay, so the 3 colors that I'm using, and I'm going to squeeze this from the back because we are watercoloring. Gray granite, I'm doing for the base because I want it a little bit of brown in there. And pumpkin pie, and then Cajun craze. Okay, there we go. That one got lots of ink on there. I'm trying to sit these here so you can see them. All right, and I'm using this, I think it's the medium brush, and wow, I see I don't have a lot of water left in there. Hopefully it will be enough. I'm going to start with this and just squeeze a little water in there. I want this one to be really wet because I just want a touch of that. Having issues because I don't have enough water in here. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze some water into both of these because before I happen to run out. That one's not sitting flat for some reason. That's weird. Oh, that's because the other ones are leaning on something. Okay. All right, so let's get just a wash here. And I'm just going to go sort of around the outside edges. I'm not going to color everything with this, but I just want to get a base of gray granite in here. I'm leaving some of the inside. Definitely want some white highlights in there too, to just show like a light source. Okay, and then I'm going to use this pretty heavily up here for the stem. I don't want to add green to this card. I want it to be fairly monochromatic. Okay, I got that a little heavier than I wanted, but that's okay. Okay, we'll come in with the orange. And the key to watercolor is you slop the color on, but you don't throw it all on at once. So you start just adding color and sort of deciding what you like as you go. And then you come back and you throw a little bit more on, and it sort of dries as you go. So you can see where, oh, I need some more color there. And you might even come back later and be like, oh, I'm going to throw some color on there. I like that. And I want a little bit more color. I'm just shocked because I did not expect the difference in color there, brightness with that paper. So if you are shocked, don't be shocked too badly, because I was surprised as well. Really couldn't believe the difference. Now you can see that it looks like absolutely nothing yet, okay? But we're just going to give it time. We're going to keep throwing on color. I definitely want a little bit more in here. And I sort of like this brush gets very dry, and the watercolor paper is great because you can get like a dry brush look. It's sort of bumpy. I don't know if you can see it, but it leaves you some white spots. And I didn't even try it. Like, I was like, oh, this is cool. You can really see it on this one. You see how the white is there, and it's real bumpy looking, and it looks so natural. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And it was just the brush was dry, and I went over it. Okay, so we're gonna come back in with a little more pumpkin, a little stronger this time, and I'm gonna, really just keep it to, you see where the dots are there, the darker spots. That means that the artist highlighted where you would see probably a little bit more color, a little deeper color. So I'm going to use that because I'm not an artist, but whoever did this helped me by showing me where I wanted to add that color. So then I'm going to do that at the bottom of the seam. Let me zoom this in just a tad, see if that's more helpful for you. Bring these down here a little bit so that you can see what the colors I'm using. Probably a little much. Okay. But now I lost my little supports under here. Let me just do that so they don't rock on me. Sorry. It's really quite annoying when they rock as you're trying to stamp. Okay. They're a little top heavy. All right, we're coming in. Like I said, I'm having less water because I didn't add any more water to this. So that means my color is going to be a little stronger. and you know, when you color with blends, you sort of want to blend and get the colors blended when the ink is still wet. With watercolor, you pretty much don't. You sort of, I think for the most part, watercoloring tends to look better in layers. So when it has dried in between, so you saw I started over here, and when I was finished and wanted to add more color, I came back here where it would be drier. Okay, so I want it to look like layers and not, I don't want it to look like mud. All right, so now I'm going to come back over here. I want a little more orange on the outside, and I would definitely want more orange in where the edges of, I don't know what you call the ridges of the pumpkin. Okay, now I think I'm ready for some Cajun. I want to be really careful. This is a really dark color, so I'm going to be really careful. Again, I'm going to come up here, excuse me, where I want this the darkest, and I'm just going to touch on a little bit of color because I'm not sure how much I want. And I'm just going to pull it down a little bit into there. Isn't that awesome? And we'll come down here and do the same thing. Just try to throw on. Actually, it might be better if I bring it this way so that I can pull it and then it ends up in a point. I'm really nervous. Do you see where there's no lines right here? Makes me really nervous, okay? Because I'm like, okay, the artist didn't put any lines there. I want to be real careful with how much color I put there. Notice how I started with the most color for my lightest color. I went to the next color that was the next amount of color, and now this one, I'm not going to add a lot of this color. I just want some spots that are going to be some shaded areas. Okay, I think that I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I might come back in here and just grab a little bit more pumpkin. And I don't need quite this much white area here. I don't want it to be very wet, too much color, so I just throw a little bit on there. I want to lose a little bit of that tan in there. And I might just do a little water here. My center is a little bit too white, so let me just come in here and see if I can just lose a little bit of that. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. What do you guys think? All right, so how many of you love watercoloring? I am going to add a little bit of this dark in here. Like I said, I don't want to put green in there, but maybe I'll come back in and do this just a little stronger. Just trying to make this gray a little darker without trying to grab another color. Okay. All right, so I'm done with coloring. Just going to clean that off by squeezing that tip and cleaning it on my scrap paper. All right, I'm finished with these. I'm not going to close them because I'm going to clean that all out. I don't like to leave water in there because you guys know how we struggle sometimes with mold on our pads, and I don't want to give it any reason to do that. Okay, so I am going to stamp, oh, I do need my gray pad. I am going to stamp this one leaf here. And I'm not using the Stamparatus, so I'm praying that if I hold that on there for a few seconds, I can get a good transfer because it's a solid stamp. I'm hoping that it will not too bad. I should have done it on the Stamparatus, but I didn't. Okay, so I'm finished with that, and I'm going to just add, you know what, I might put the rest of my card together while that dries a little bit. We're going to just go ahead and, actually, probably should stamp this first. And here's my stamp, and I am using StazOn again, just staying with the same ink. Now this is fairly smooth cardstock, so I'm not using the Stamparatus. I could, but I think it will be okay, hopefully. Give it a few seconds to all grab off of there. Ta-da! It's a little, maybe it's crooked, I'm not sure. I'm just going to wipe that off here a little bit. Okay. Now I can put this together. Oh, I just wanted to remind you, if you've never used the StazOn, has 2 lids. Make sure you save both of them and use both of them all the time. Dries very quickly because it's an alcohol-based ink, which is why we can't use it with the alcohol markers, because they would make that ink run. So alcohol markers go with non-alcohol ink. Watercoloring goes with alcohol ink or permanent ink. And looking at the top left and the bottom right to make sure that they're exactly the same will get me lined up well. And now we're ready to do this. It's not quite dry yet, but I do want to add some linen thread. And I'm just going to start it with a little length here so that I can tie a bow. Going to wrap it twice. And then we'll snip this. If I can find my scissors here. Now this is, like I said, this is watercolor and it's wet, so I could tend to smear it if I'm not careful. So I'm trying to not touch it too much. I do a backwards bow. I don't know. I take my strand back over instead of this way, and that makes it lay better for me. I'll try to do a video sometime. A lot of people are like, I don't know how to tie that bow. And I'll try to do a video. I'm going to find some regular size. I have all baby dimensionals here. Oh my goodness. I'm going to need a lot of these. It's a big piece. And I found that I even put like 6 or 8 on the other card. And I found that it was bowing at one spot. And I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I thought I put plenty on there, but I think maybe the watercolor caused it to, this paper should be a little more resistant to that since it is watercolor paper, whereas the other one was just our basic white. And I'm gonna just throw a couple in here. So give me a second to get all these tops off. Throw them in my lap. I can gather them up later or wear them around the house. Who does that, right? I'm sure you guys find these little tops to the dimensionals everywhere. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop this right in here, centered left to right. I want it towards the bottom. I don't want it to be centered up and down. Sometimes I don't care for that look. Okay, and then last but not least, we have these cute champagne. I'm so happy they came back, if I can find them here. The champagne rhinestones, and they look so perfect with this card. So we'll throw a couple of them on here. I'm gonna go a little crazy and add a couple this time. Let's do 5 instead of 3. Okay, so there we go. Now, do you guys want to see the difference between the one that's on basic white and this one? Now, this one is fairly dry. The color is not going to change anymore as it dries, because you can see this one's been dry for like half an hour or so, and it looks still exactly the same. Here's the difference in these two. Same exact colors. I used did them exactly the same. I probably put a little more brown on this one than I did this one, but you can see how the colors just bleached in or leached into the paper, and here they just look, it's just incomparable. I cannot believe the difference, and I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. You can get this set in the holiday catalog if you like this. Now the little gnomes that I use for this card, they are in a separate bundle, and I did notice that they are getting low. So if the gnomes is something that you are liking, if you're coming to retreat and taking my gnome class, my decor class, it doesn't include the stamps, so you might want to get the stamps ahead of time if you think you'll use those in the future. But I think that's everything. So everybody have a great day. God bless you, and I will